So, Michelle, you are the face of Protea Academy. How does that make you feel?
I mean, when you put it like that, incredibly awkward. Um, yes, incredibly awkward. I don't like to think of it like that, but unfortunately, that is a byproduct. There've been a couple of people that I've, just engaged with since the channel has been up and going, and they've kind of denoted the conversation or started off by saying, seen the videos and that, which is, it definitely fills on with a great sense of pride. Still getting used to it though, but no, I mean, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, as we're talking, a video went live early on. So I believe it was video number 11 that we posted. So we're getting up there now. Starting to push the content out, and it's intriguing to sort of watch which ones get some traction. There's just the video a couple of weeks ago that I'm like, oh, gracious, that thing's been viewed a ton. And we didn't do anything different. We didn't change our social media push around it. So it's always interesting to get sort of what gets picked up. But before we go into sort of your role at Protea Academy and sort of going forward on it, sort of let's take a step back a little bit. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your journey from the beginning to when you joined Protea? Where did you start and how did you end up here?
Okay, I mean, how much time have we got? No, I'll try not to, I like to keep the verbosity in that for the videos, I guess. No, let's see if we can put this as succinctly as possible. I think so sort of born and bred in PE, well, technically born in East London. Zane, you even know where that is? Would you remember where it is? Would you remember where it is?
I did plenty of 2.5, 3 hour drives there and back, sometimes in the same day. So
yeah, no, luckily none of that now. But yeah, technically I guess spent the formative years there. Studied at Nelson Mandela University. Got my, I mean, that was a long road in and of itself. Had a couple of cracks at obviously the undergraduate honors degree in accounting. Went the CA route. It was something that I was always passionate about. I think insofar as one can say that at that age. In hindsight, it's always quite amusing. The older one gets, you think, to be making such big decisions at that age. It's always quite interesting to reflect on. But so
let's pause on that thought. I mean, so CA, for those that don't know, that's chartered accountant. For our US audience, that would be the equivalent of a CPA. And yeah, it is always an interesting one, sort of making that decision at a young age. I mean, when I had the same thing, I didn't really know what I was getting into when I went to university. And I went into, I think the course at the time was called Accounting for Chartered Accountants. It was very specific, like this is where you're going to go. And you knew your route, right? It was, you do your undergrad, you do your postgrad, and then you hopefully get signed up at an audit firm, a CPA firm, and go do your traineeship. That'll be 3 years, and then magically you're a chartered accountant, and then who knows what happens after that. The only thing I was ever told was like, you'll have unlimited earning potential. I'm like, okay, yeah. Wish I had a little bit more, but let's go for it. Was that sort of the same experience for you?
Absolutely. I think it was, I mean, I can't help but laugh. Yes, that is the selling point. You'll have unlimited earning potential. And you kind of driven. It is very specific. You know kind of where you're gonna. I think for me as well, it was the CA stream, chartered accountant stream. So very specific. But then I mean, in hindsight, I knew so little about it. I think it was sort of towards somewhere in the middle of honors. I think I realized, wait, I need to actually sign somewhere and get my articles done. Everyone around me seemed to just, kind of have this game plan and that, and yeah, there was just so much that I didn't know at the time. But I signed up with a medium-sized or medium-tier firm, did my articles there. That was an eye-opening experience. I think, certainly, yeah, I'd say that's where the learning came from, and sort of made you realize, well, at least if you wanted to be an auditor, which funny enough I thought I wanted to be, and then sort of along the journey, I stayed for a few years, about, I think it was 3 years post articles, so in total six years with the firm. But even that was another big learning curve to realize, and I think I learned a lot about myself at the time, in terms of what it was that I was actually seeking, which is I enjoy stability. That's definitely a big calling card for me. And yeah, so it was massive, when I realized, okay, I need to make a move. And the pressure or something that sort of stuck in my mind as time progressed post articles was, there's kind of a thing around it that if you don't get out immediately after articles, you're going to struggle to get out. And so as time is creeping on and you're not making a move, that sort of pressure definitely weighs quite heavily on you. You need to kind of make the decision pretty quickly and go. So it took a lot. I'd say a leap of an absolute leap of faith. I'm still surprised. I'm grateful that I had it in me. But I made the jump, and the thing that that stood out for me the most was coming from an audit environment which is so paper-based, and it's actually such an archaic system if you think about it, if you think about what we have access to now. And that was the thing I struggled with the most. I thought, okay, Protea, it seems cool, right? It seems like work that I'd want to do. Yes, I'd want to do it. But how does it work? Like, it took I just really couldn't, figure out. And it sounds ridiculous now. I mean, if I look back and I think, yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world. But I look back and I thought, how did it work? Okay, so we've got people sitting in America, how, and we're here. No, it took me, I had to go, I struggled to get around that concept. And then when I was like, okay, possibly, maybe it does work. I mean, it must work. There's, people that I know, which gave me a lot of comfort, people that I know already working at Protea, which really, I'd say that sold me to a large extent. But I still couldn't quite wrap my head around coming from such a paper-based environment. And yeah, that's one of the things that sticks out the most is how it works. And it was the most, it was like an awakening to see life outside a paper-based environment.
So you joined us in 2019, is that correct?
Yes, 2nd of January.
2nd of January. So putting in your third year, obviously started out as a senior accountant, senior on projects, sort of running a few projects, definitely a firestorm of projects. And you and I have been able to work on some really interesting ones together. And obviously you've had a good opportunity to learn. And through that time, we noticed that you have ability in the training sphere, and we've definitely seen a talent of it, and we decided to open up an opportunity for you, which was something I've been wanting to do for a long time, just trying to find the right person, and never quite sort of found the right person, or a person that has enough time to dedicate it to you. And we've started that out, and obviously going into 2021, really putting you in a leadership role and asking you to do a lot more. And part of that is Protea Academy. So tell me about Protea Academy.
mean, you know, I think just coming back to, I think certainly training, or rather the education space, is definitely something that I'm very passionate about. And I often think, you know, on some days, I mean, it rivals I'd say my passion for accounting. Some days exceeding it, definitely. It's always been something that has sparked an interest in me. Just, you know, I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge out there. Probably, I mean, if I had to ask you, you would say it's because I like talking, which I think is half of it. Give me the platform and I thoroughly enjoy it, I guess. So that definitely helped. But I definitely inserted myself in. I think I tried to, and it was in this environment. It wasn't something that I, you know, that I really thought I would have much scope for. So I was really pleasantly surprised to see that these were the opportunities available. And then, I mean, Protea Academy, I like to think of it as, yeah, it's sort of one of those things where you kind of have an idea. I mean, it was something that you mentioned Protea Academy to me, I think I think it was in the first visit in 2019, so not too long into the year. And you mentioned Protea Academy, and it seemed great, but it seemed like one of those down the line. That's the dream, that's the aim, that's where we're going for, putting out educational content in the accounting space, in, you know, winery accounting space, which is really, it's a nice thing to aim for, but definitely a couple of years from now. So I was quite, I mean, I'm just as surprised as the next person when the channel actually launched, because it kind of just happened. And I mean, I 1000% attribute that to you when you said, right, okay, where's the mock video? And even then, I don't think you know, I thought it was, that will be cool for the future. I'll pencil it in for a few months from now. And I think you'll remember you sort of kept hammering me, and I didn't have excuses. I just had to sit down one day, and here we found ourselves. You know, I think speaking to Ryan, our editor, you know, one of the things he said before we even got the first video out is, he said, most of the time these things fall flat because you're just not ready to take the leap and just put that first piece of content out there. And it's really true, because it all just remains an idea, and you're waiting for the perfect time to sort of get into the space. And yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, it's tricky. Is anybody going to be interested in the content? Should we go ahead? What should we do? So I think for all of those types of thoughts that I have, you're a great balance to that, where you say, right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to jump in, right? Who knows if anybody really wants it? I mean, at this point, I still don't know that answer. I mean, but we're just going to keep pushing forward. Would you say you're enjoying what you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's not something that I saw myself doing. I definitely didn't see myself doing it, but yeah, I struck it lucky.
I think we struck it lucky. So where to from here? What's the future of the channel hold?
You know, I think for now, one of the things that I'm most proud of is, and it's true, you see it with a lot of content creators, or content that gets put out there. You see a lot of gusto, a lot of here's a post, and then a month later you might see another post, and then it kind of just fizzles out, or whatever the case may be. And the one thing that I'm genuinely proud of is our commitment to getting the content out there on a weekly basis, without fail, having that sort of, there's always a plan in place, pushing it out there. And where to from here? I mean, personally, I think, I mean, am I an influencer? Maybe not yet, but I will be. but I will be. That's where Protea Academy is going, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's exciting times ahead, and on your point of sort of wanting to push that content out, I think with most things, and especially in the accounting world, consistency is key, and I think that'll be the success to the channel moving forward.